This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why hire a camera operator when the control is in your hands? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster TC1. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtek.com for more information.
Welcome to another edition of Stories from the Cabin. It is Thursday night, and we have with us, she's back from her hiatus,
Woo-hoo.
so I have to behave to myself tonight.
Ow.
We've got my wife Erin, which that's not her name, but apparently I have to see. You've been replaced.
I've been replaced. What the heck? Apparently I'm Steven now. Stefan.
we also got Braden here. We haven't replaced you though, Braden.
All right, good.
just my wife. We also have Jake Oxenford, who's been playing around in the mud this week, right?
Yep, unfortunately. FBA weather.
That's all you can do, right?
That's literally all I can do.
We were talking about this earlier today, or before the show started. We were saying how, well, earlier this week it was snowing. I don't know if you guys got snow. We got snow here. It was like, what, 30, 32 degrees. I mean, it was cold.
It was cold.
By Sunday, they wanted 82 degrees. So no fishing got done this week. Nothing. I mean, it's just been, you didn't know if you were ice fishing or if you were trout fishing. Or sounds like you guys had that same experience this week, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I planned on going fishing Monday, but that unexpected 7 inches of snow.
You got 7 inches of snow?
Oh, yeah, we had like 6-7 inches.
Oh, my.
Probably more, but the first initial snow melted, so.
Wow.
Wow.
We only got what? We got a dusting.
Yeah, dusting. That's it. Thank goodness.
So, Jake, did you get a lot over there, or did you just get like flurries and dusting and mud?
Yeah, no, we just got, flurries, and then there was a part that was like a hail. Pieces of hail that came down, but nothing that ever stuck, because that would just aggravate me even more. Yes, I just sent a picture, Steven, in our group.
Oh, my.
How much we got.
Yeah, I'll pull this up here.
That was at like noon. We got more until 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Wow.
Wow, you ain't kidding.
And yeah, that was the mountain that was shut down for 4 hours.
Is those power trucks and everything?
Yeah.
You guys lost power then, huh?
We didn't lose power in our area, but I figured they did. So, or someone did, that they were going out on a call.
Wow.
Oh, my.
No, we didn't get that much here. We got just, it didn't even stick to the ground. It stuck to the grass, right?
Not that long, though.
What, when you went out for work in the morning because you had to drive to work, the streets were pretty clear, right?
Oh, yeah. They were clear.
So it wasn't bad here. And then it lasted till like noon and it was gone, but it looks like you had a whole blizzard going on.
Yeah,
That's awful.
It was probably 11 o'clock that started.
That would make sense because that's about when it was melting here. But either way, I wasn't going to go out and go fishing in sub-zero. I mean, opening day was rough with it being windy. That was the other thing that came along with this. We had a lot of wind, to the point, and I want to show you guys this. I should have keyed it up earlier. My neighbor calls me up. So my neighbor calls me up, and I haven't heard from him in, I don't know, a couple weeks, maybe a couple months since, it got colder and it started to get warmer. And he's like, "Hey, what did you do to your backyard?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "What did you do to your backyard?" And he's laughing. And I'm like, "What did you do to my backyard?" And he's like, "You haven't seen it. Do you even go outside?" And I was like, "Yeah, we were outside. We went away, and came back." He's like, "I think you need to go outside." So my daughter comes back. She goes, "Dad, you need to come out here. Your Target stand fell over." I'm like, "What?" So now I think she's joining in on it, right? Messing with me.
Right.
So we went outside, and this was when this is on the ground.
Wow.
That thing weighs, what, 250 pounds? It took
Easily.
4 of us to lift it without the bags.
Without the bags.
And then you figure the 2 bottom bags are probably the white ones. We got those packed tight. Those are probably about 100, 150 pounds a piece. It takes 2 of us to move each bag.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other ones are probably, I don't know, 50 to 80 pounds.
Because with all the rain, it got waterlogged too.
On top of all that.
Clothes in there.
So, but you could see how muddy, like they were anchored into the ground. But I'm gonna have to get those spirals. Like it was in the ground, for dry. And we've had heavy winds before; it never blew it over. But I couldn't believe it. I was floored. So
I was impressed that the whole thing stayed together. Honestly, nothing broke on it.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing. But I'm gonna get those 16-inch corkscrews and screw them in, and then ratchet strap them like we did with the kids' basketball hoop, because that was kind of strange. But either way, that's how exciting our week has been. It sounds to me like you guys have had some exciting things. And Jake, you haven't started your fence yet.
Nope. I was saying pre-show it'll probably be October until I get to do anything with this weather and all the mud I have and everything else.
So I want to draw everybody's attention to over Jake's left shoulder. It'll be your right shoulder looking at the screen. What do we have sitting on the table right there?
Let me just help you.
Oh, look. So last week we talked about bow setups, and the bow hasn't moved, so we know Jake wasn't out shooting his bow.
Nope. Well, currently, I should show you guys. Currently, where I was shooting my bow is a stack full of wood now from all the trees I cut down. So I got to do some log splitting and split all that up because that's where I was shooting. And so now I need to find a new spot to shoot it where I'm not shooting it at my neighbors or into the abyss if I shoot over. Because I had some trees behind me I was shooting at. And if I hit it, at least it would hit a tree or something. Everything else will be downhill and into the woods. And I ain't going to find that error if I miss. So.
But you're not going to shoot anything with it sitting in your office there, buddy.
Nah. Baby steps.
And I looked at Braden's background. I was trying to find a bow. I don't see a bow there, so he was smart. He didn't put his bow there.
There's no bow here. They're in the other cabinet.
I can't say anything though. Mine's in the garage. So, but I was going to go out and shoot this week too. But my wife, she blames it on too much playing video games.
Yes.
But it was one night, man. I was like, man, my wrist hurts. Like I don't know if it was because I was holding it like this the whole time, but like I started to go like that, like you would hold the bow, and it like really hurt. It was like that for like 48 hours.
Well, you go okay. Say why your wrist might possibly hurt. How long did you play the new video game that you got? I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's see. We were all off on Monday, and it started right after breakfast. I don't even know if you had breakfast, and then you didn't stop playing until 5 or 6 o'clock that night. So, tell me again why your wrist hurts.
See, this is the problem, folks. When your wife is on
just say
a
it.
show, okay. I'm trying to get her position.
Here. I love you, sweetie, but I mean, okay, I was playing with you too, but I had to take a break. My wrist does not.
The truth comes out.
My
now.
wrists feel amazing because you know how I didn't.
The truth.
I didn't play all day.
So yeah, I was playing a game a lot, but I still don't think that was the cause of it. But my buddy wanted me to go. She's shaking her head. Yeah. Come on. Jeez. Hey, Braden probably was busting out the Fortnite too, so I don't want to hear it. Help me out, Braden.
couple games since I got back on in a year. So.
But no,
I get on and play together though.
What's that?
We will have to get on and play together, though.
My kids playing stuff. But it's been one of those things, like I wanted to get out and I wanted to shoot some more, and I know you've wanted to get out too,
yes.
Because we just put that new magnitude sight on from Apex Gear.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get that sighted in.
I know. It's been hard with our daughter having track, and then I'm there. I'm not there. I'm at work.
So last week we talked about bow setups. This week we wanted to kind of get into something that's kind of a controversial topic. And since this is a video podcast, but it's also a podcast, so if you're listening, leave comments below on the YouTube video or on the Facebook video. But what I want to ask is about scent control. So when you're hunting, and I know there's a lot of the older generation, we're going to say 50 and older, that believe that you don't need scent control. Like you can put your clothes in a trunk, you don't wash them. Maybe they sell these. Have you guys ever used these? They're like mud chips or mud pellets that you put in. They look like those. What's the fancy coffee thing that you throw the thing in the coffee? It's 1 cup per thing, and you throw it in.
Oh, like a K-cup.
Yeah, like a Keurig. Yeah, and K-cup, and there's like dirt, and it makes your clothes smell like dirt. You put it in there, you crack the top open, you put it in, and lock it in. Have you guys ever used that stuff?
I've never used them. I've used like the old wafers.
Okay.
Remember them? They like clip to your hat or your shirt or whatever, and they had like earth scent and like acorn scent and whatnot. But no, I've never used like the old cup style. What you're trying to explain there?
So that the other thing is, some people are always saying, the spray downs, it doesn't work. I mean, think about some of the other people. I mean, we talked about the Amish before. The Amish, they come right from the barn. A lot of people, which it does make sense. A lot of people say, when you're hunting, just put your clothes in a barn if you have a barn, because the deer are used to that smell. I don't know.
It makes sense, especially if they're eating corn in a field or something. I mean, they smell the fertilizer. They smell. I mean, they're used to the animal scent, so they don't smell human.
So you're saying having the goats in the basement's helping me right now?
There you go.
Scent control.
Well, see, that's what I'm wondering.
What I'm getting.
They're going to eat a hole in them. You're probably going to need new ones next year, but
well ventilated.
But yeah, I do know people, they actually smoke their hunting clothes. So
wait, what do you mean they smoke them?
Like a smoker, you know what I mean? Like they'll have them in a room, and it's just like a smoker full of like cherry wood chips or oak wood chips and whatnot, which makes total sense. I mean,
yeah,
it's gonna have that natural cherry smell. Or if you're around fires, for instance, I mean, there's a fire everywhere, so they're gonna get a whiff of smoke and whatnot. But yeah, I don't personally know a bunch of people, but I've seen a bunch of people. That's how they make their hunting clothes scent free. They just smoke them.
Oh, that's interesting. Because I've heard the proverbial wives' tale, and I'm going to call it that. Is like, hey, you're in a tree stand a long day, guys. You have to relieve yourself, and you go to the bathroom, and people say you shouldn't do that either because that the deer will smell it and they won't come around. But I tend to disagree with that because I've had to do that many times, and I've shot deer right after it. So,
yeah, guilty of charge there. I've peed in a scrape before, and the deer come check it out.
So I don't know if there's any truth to some of that stuff, but I was really curious about that because a guy that used to be part of No Boundaries Outdoors, Drew, he always put his stuff in a cedar chest. He swore by it up and down to put it in a cedar chest. That's how they did it, and they would only wash it. And a lot of the guys I talk to, they only wash it after the season, unless there's a lot of blood on it. Right. Then they'll wash it.
Mm-hmm.
But then they leave it out. They'll get another pair of hunting clothes or whatever, but they'll leave it out to get that wash smell out of it or whatnot.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Nowadays, obviously, we have a sponsor, Scent Crusher, with ozone technology. Whether you're using Scent Crusher or one of the other competitors that are out there, ozone has been very prevalent with scent control, and also the spray downs. Like just about every company has some form of spray down. In fact, Scent Crusher had a spray down at some point. Let me ask you something. Do you guys use any of the spray downs at all? Have you used them?
Yep. Yeah, I try to spray down before every hunt, and even after I get into my saddle, I spray down just to try to get minimal scent and whatnot. But I mainly use the Pure Whitetail Dirt Eliminator by Upwind.
So that's even if you're using ozone, you still spray down.
Yep. Yeah, I guess just a superstition, but
Let me pull
I'm
this
gonna
up
take
here real quick.
every precaution I can to try to stay scent free.
So let's pull this up here. So what are you using? Spray eliminator, spray dirt. So
the spray eliminator dirt, yeah.
So again, they want you to smell earthy dirt.
Right.
$14, which the dirt kind of has like that ozone smell, right?
Yep.
What about you, Jake? You using any kind of spray downs? Have you used them? Are you superstitious in that fashion?
No, I mean I've used the Senolimmer dirt. I used Wildlife Research. I used regular Dead Downwind. I know last year, 2 years ago, when Walmart does their hunting sale, I went and I think I got a bottle of Dead Downwind for like $1.50 or something like that. They had like 8 left. I think I got all 8, so now I'm like stocked up on that because I don't know. I feel like that kind of stuff's not a
priority.
Once and done. Like this is like a bow or something you trust, and like this is the only company I'm going to use because I just feel like they're all kind of the same. They're just different flavors of it. And I don't even know if they really work. I mean, I've seen deer spray down with it, and I've seen deer not. So it's like, does it work? I don't know. I mean, if I forget to spray down, I still see deer. So it's just one of those things. Just if I remember to do it, then that's a plus. And yeah, I guess the wind's right when I don't.
I know we've used Dead Downwind before, but Erin doesn't like it when it's cold out. And I try to spray her down. Like that was before ozone. When I'd spray you down, you'd be like, "Do you really have to do this?" And the main thing, at least even now, it's rare anymore that I spray down. But the boots, like I'll spray the boots down ahead of time, like because they're out in the garage, and I leave them out in the garage because of the rubber. You don't want to put rubber in ozone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll spray her boots down, spray my boots down like a day or two before, and then go in. But usually, for the most part, I don't. But what I've done in the past is I've taken doe pee and I put it on the tips and the heels of my boot as I'm walking in. That will also help mask the smell. I learned that from a buddy of mine.
Right.
So I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is we've used Scent Crusher probably last 5-6 years. I think since the first year that they came out. Dan Drake's been good to us over there. So I want to preface this that we are a sponsor. Now, they are a sponsor of us. Now, one of my buddies, and a couple of my buddies, because I've given some hand-me-down when I'd upgrade my Scent Crusher gear, I've given them out. Even my brother-in-law, he will take his clothes and he'll stick them in his bag, because I gave him a gear bag, my old one, and he'll stick it in there and run the ozone. He doesn't wash them either. I'm kind of in that same boat too. I don't wash my hunting clothes unless there's blood on them. I just ozone them. And I even started putting my fishing clothes in there before I give them to her to wash. I will put them in there to get rid of any kind of fish smell off of it, so it doesn't.
Right.
Let's go. Let's level it out here. Do you think, Braden, that the ozone is gimmicky?
No, I'll say at first, whenever I did start getting into like the ozone bags and all that good stuff, I was leery on it at first, just because ultimately you're not gonna 100% eliminate every scent you have on your body. I just don't think it's possible unless you're wearing a bubble. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I will say, whenever I got the Scent Crusher ozone that plugs into your truck,
mm-hmm.
like after a couple months of working and mud and everything in my vehicle, it started to smell a little bit funky, but I put that in there, and after the 30-minute cycle, I got back in, and it almost smelled like a new vehicle. So I will say, like, their stuff works. Like 100% it works. But are you going to get 100% of your odor off of your gear and whatnot? I'm going to say no. But at the same time, if I can get an advantage over the deer, I'm gonna use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to get everybody else's opinion here in a second, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick break and thank some of our sponsors. We'll be right back right after this.
Apex Gear, known for their performance-driven archery sights and accessories, is pleased to introduce the new Covert Series archery sight. VersaPin technology allows shooters to change the pin color and pin size on demand in an instant. The compact and lightweight sight is equipped with stainless steel hardware, micro-adjustable windage and elevation, an ultra-smooth, easy one-hand adjustment knob for quick yardage changes, and a micro-push button light. The new Covert Series from Apex Gear.
Confidence is key, and when bow hunting, confidence can be defined by one word: accuracy. Introducing the Thorn Expandable Broadhead. Its patented hidden blade technology guarantees field point accuracy, and the patented rip tip grabs at hide and flesh, ensuring deployment and beginning the process of devastation. Its stainless steel blades render up to a massive 2.2-inch cut. For confidence and accuracy, there is only one choice: Thorn Broadheads, the world's most accurate broadhead.
All right, guys, we're back, and we really appreciate the support from all the sponsors here. But before we took the break, we were talking about ozone or scent control and ozone, and is it gimmicky? Is other spray downs, are they gimmicky? And should you just hang it up in a barn? So we were talking about the ozone. Braden says he doesn't think it's gimmicky. Erin, I know you were a little skeptical when I first wanted to buy the closet, the ozone closet.
Mm-hmm.
You were more excited that I was getting them off at the old house off the ping pong table.
Yes.
So you were like, yeah, honey, go ahead and buy a ozone closet.
Right.
You know, you were like, oh, whatever. But then talk about your experience with that. And do you think it's gimmicky?
Well, actually, I think I did a review on it.
We both did, yeah.
That. I mean, okay, at first I was a little bit skeptical, and I thought, well, okay, I mean, everyone's going to say their product's the best. Okay, so I mean, just coming from someone who literally is I have very limited knowledge about hunting in general, about, you know, I'm around outdoor stuff, but it's like, you know, so again, I have limited knowledge about products. So I tried it. I had this shirt that, I mean, it smelled like, I mean, to be honest, mothballs. It's been in storage. It's been in storage for a really long time, and I'm like, okay, if it can get this scent out of this shirt, I'm going to be convinced that it worked. So we had to run it through twice, but honestly, my shirt smelled like fresh air after the second round of it, and I was impressed. So I will say, for me, in my opinion, it works. It does what it needs to do.
Yeah, I think we have that video up on the YouTube channel, so people can watch it if they want to watch it. We actually showed us putting it in there because that was the big thing. I think we both were skeptical because at the time we weren't sponsored by Scent Crusher, so it was one of those things where we were like, okay, does this actually work, and is it worth the investment? And like I said, there's other companies out there that you can get it from. We recommend Scent Crusher. Jake, what about you? I mean, what's been your experience? Do you think it's gimmicky?
To a degree, I feel like it is. I mean, I've used the Ozone Go from Scent Crusher in my truck before, and I believe it got some of the smells out, but then I feel like it only lasts a certain amount of time. Like, it's not like a end all be all. Because then within a few days, like, the smell came back. My truck was pretty well empty at the time, so it's not like there's like hidden food in there or something that's like causing the odor. But I mean, I've used the closet before. And like I said, I feel like it works for a period of time. And then once it starts getting a new scent, it just kind of sticks in there, and obviously you gotta keep running it. But that's why I feel like the sprays are kind of easier, because the cycle, you gotta run it for a little bit of time. I think it's like 15 minutes to 30 minutes.
Yeah,
or
you
something
can
like
do
that
30 minutes. Yeah.
To run the cycle, and then you got to wait ahead of time to do it, and I just rather spray it down and move on.
So my brother in the chat room, he says, well, in my type of work field, I've talked to a lot of older hunters, and they said that they didn't use anything and still got deer. They said they didn't even have rangefinders. If they could see it, they guessed how far away it was, and I think that's a lot of the hunters out there. I mean, to this day, they still do that.
My dad didn't grow up with ozone. I mean, I think he stuck his stuff in a cedar chest, and that was it.
Well, he told me he used to get home from school, and they just grab their weapons, get their old clothes on,
Literally
and go
didn't
out.
even have a tree stand. He would just climb a tree and go. He actually shot a buck that way.
I think, and this could be a whole nother episode. I want to get into camo and whatnot, but I have my opinions on that too. But I think I like the ozone. I think it works as far as the closet. If you're running multiple cycles, Jake, I agree with you. If your truck really stinks and you got to run it a few times, because it's not enough ozone in there. We'll call it a lethal dose because most people are running it with them in it.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't make it that potent, otherwise it's going to kill you.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you that there's certain elements that you do got to run a few times, but I've also been up in the tree. I've had my ozone generator above my head, and I've had a deer come completely right in the wind with me, come right down, like right on where he shouldn't have come. He should have come the other way. Yep. Never winded me once. So kind of like Braden's saying, if I can get an advantage over a deer, I'm going to any way that I possibly can. But I still think that some of the stuff could be like we had, and I noticed Dan took it off the market, but and he had sent it to us. He sent us that remember the ozone wash that you would hook up to your washing machine?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That it injects ozone into the water when you wash your clothes. And I remember you washing it, and you're like, you said to me, you're like, did you put the ozone on it? And I said, yeah. And you're like, it doesn't smell any different than it would if I washed it with regular water.
Smelled normal.
So
yeah, that was gimmicky.
When we moved to the new house, we never hooked it up. It's still in the other room.
Right.
So I don't know. I like the bag. I like throwing it in there. You can tell the difference when you pull your clothes out. They even feel different. They feel like they're freshly washed.
Right.
But that's where I think it's. I hate to say it stops. Because if you have an ozone generator and it's just blowing out right above you, the same thing could be said with things like Pure Whitetail's got a really good. I'll see if I can pull it up here in a minute. But a powder that they have that smells like blueberry and raspberry. I've had a buck come in on that.
Spellbound, mesmerized, and stuff.
Yeah. I've had bucks come in on that. I've had doe come in on that because they smell the fruitiness. So I think anything that you project into the air that they're comfortable with, it almost seems like is fine.
Anything natural.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember a point in case? I'll have to look for the picture. I don't have it offhand, but do you remember when I went out? I had my PJ pants on and I had a sweatshirt on and a hat, and I went up there and I shot at a doe out in the back on our property.
Yeah.
I wasn't sprayed down. I wasn't camoed up. I literally grabbed my bow and went up inside. I had my Crocs on and everything. Like I was more or less, I was scouting. Like I was just going up there, but I was like, well, if a deer comes out, I'm going to shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's told me stories of when he used to go hunting with my grandfather that they'd go out and first light, all of a sudden everyone lights up a cigarette and they start walking through the woods with a cigarette and they go to their stands, smoke some more cigarettes, and then they're just smoke all day and then get down and leave, and they see deer, they shoot deer. It's like, okay, well, I don't think deer are smoking cigarettes. And I don't think they're getting used to the cigarette smell. But I mean, like I used to yell at my dad because he used to bring coffee into the woods, and I mean, one of like the thermoses, and I'd be like, no, like stop, like they're gonna smell it. Stop, he would stop bringing coffee in the woods. But
my dad would
I was
go ahead.
So superstitious that was the issue why we weren't seeing anything, was because he was drinking coffee in the woods, and it just, the deer could smell it. Like they're like, what is this? We don't drink coffee. I don't know what this is. We're staying away from them. So
my dad would bring a salad.
And he brought coffee.
And he brought coffee, and he'd eat it in his tree stand and be munching, and then all of a sudden you hear pow, and he got a deer. So
yeah. So that's why I feel like the deer, like the scent stuff is, I feel like gimmicky to a point. Like obviously everyone's trying to make money and like, oh yeah, well if you do this, it'll help your odds. But I mean, as has been pointed and proved out before all this, like you can still get deer without it. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like you said, people didn't wash their clothes back then. They didn't have ozone. They didn't have spray. They just did whatever they wanted to, and that was it.
And that's why I brought up this, because I thought it would be a good round table and for people listening and watching, because there's a lot of people that I've talked to. In fact, there was a guy this week I was talking to. He's like, man, I just don't have the money to get into hunting. He says, I was like, why? And he goes, well, I have a bow and I have a gun. I just like to shoot bow. But he's like, I just don't have the money to buy all this scent elimination stuff and this attractant stuff. And I said, you don't need that to hunt. I mean, like, I got it because it's an extra advantage. I said, think of it as like ordering a pizza. You can get the pizza plain, or you can add toppings onto that pizza. Either way, the pizza's still going to be good, but you're going to enhance the taste of that pizza by adding on the toppings, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not going to make the pizza worse or better if you don't get that. So the key ingredients are still there. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I got to, Braden, you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said, any advantage that you can take. I think that's the key here. And I think so many people get lost in this, right? They think that I got to have all this stuff or I'm not going to be successful in the woods. And I don't believe that.
Mm-mm. No, I don't either. I mean, you think back, like, the past generation hunters, like my grandfather. He grew up, he was hunting in, like, red flannels, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Red and black flannels. But I think there comes a time, back in the day, there wasn't as many hunters. So the deer weren't getting a constant scent in the woods like there is today. You know what I mean? Like, in today's hunting industry, there's so many people hunting. There's so much pressure in the woods. The deer smell your scent, and they're getting spooked by it. You know what I mean? They're catching on to it, so they're staying out of the area. Whereas back in, like, my grandfather's younger days, there wasn't as many people, so there wasn't as much scent all scattered all throughout the woods. So, yeah, I mean, scent for me, if I forget to do it, it is what it is. I'll try to play the wind because I think playing your wind's a big factor in success anyway. I mean, whether I spray down or not, I always still try to play the wind just because if the wind's blowing in my favor, there's no chance it's going to smell me unless the wind swirls on me. You know what I mean? So,
well, and that's where I think
I try to play the wind. I try to play thermals. And then scent's just an advantage, you know what I mean? It's just we'll say it's the icing on the cake.
Yeah, and that's why I think the ozone in the tree works. I think that's why the powders work that you can put around you, because it almost creates a barrier. Like, they'll hit that, it'll jam their nose before your scent,
Right. And that's what, like those pure whitetail products that you showed earlier, that's what they sort of do. Like, I know the Spellbound, like, they get that whiff in their nose, and it sort of like jams their nose a little bit.
And I'm telling you what, I've got some, we've got these guys on. They've latched on as a sponsor here too, Pure Whitetail. But I will swear by this Spellbound and Mesmerized dust. Like I said, I've had deer come in on.
Spellbound's my favorite product by them.
I'm with you
every time I hunt.
That stuff is. I think you even used it, Erin, when we were up there and you had some deer coming out.
Yep.
A lot of times what I'll do is I'll shake it all over the blind, on the front of the blind.
Yep.
If we're in the blind, but even up in the tree stand, I'll use that as, like, I have the Cirrus wind checker. Sometimes I'll use this as a wind checker.
Oh yeah.
It works. Jake, have you used any of the not necessarily the pure whitetail stuff, but have you ever used any of the berry smelling powders and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've used the pure whitetail stuff. I mean, I've had Spellbound, Mesmerize, some of their gels and urine and stuff. But I don't see, this is where I feel like sometimes I put too much out, and I know that's not a thing, but sometimes I feel like the deer get used to it. And they don't come in. Like, I've had it where I put it in front of a camera and then set another camera up to shoot it, like that camera. And the deer are always, like, as soon as I put it out, they walk in front of, or before I put it out, they're walking in front of the one camera. After I put it out, they're walking behind it. So it's like they're kind of skirting the cameras. Again, that could have been my scent or the scent of whatever I put out or what, but I just feel like sometimes it's when I put it out, it's not.
It's like a foreign smell to them.
Yeah, and they're avoiding it more than actually.
Every deer reacts different.
I was just going to say I agree with that, because when I go out there and I put corn in the corn feeder out there, I have no issues. Like, if I see that there's not a lot of deer there, I'm probably running out of corn. Usually every 2 months I got to put like 200 pounds of corn in there, because I have it feed about twice a day because I'm trying to keep them on a schedule. So come hunting season, they're on that schedule. But literally, I kid you not, I could go out there clanking and banging around. I take my if it's summer, I have my lawnmower with the wagon attachment and put the ladder in there, put all 200 pounds of corn in there. I'll go out. I'll put it all inside the feeder. I'll run the test to make sure that the timer and everything's working. I have it solar powered, so I don't even have to go back there and monkey with it. The minute, I kid you not, when I get out of that area, the deer are out there. Like, they hear it, they know that sound, they know what it is, they know it's, I hate to say it's safe, but it is. They know they're getting fed.
Mm-hmm.
And even mineral, if I pour a pile of mineral down, I could show you picture after picture that I've gotten in the last couple weeks. They're eating the ground right underneath the feeder. But if I go back there and take some doe pee back there or buck pee, I won't see deer back there for a couple days.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of been my experience as well. Like, I tried, a lot of scents from just different companies, Pure Whitetail, just some of the buck bomb sprays and everything else. And I feel like there's nothing that they like that draws them in that is constant. Like, I'll put it out, and maybe after the third or fourth day, I'll see something come to the scrape. It's like they needed to die down first, but there's nothing like every time that they come out and they hit it.
So you can see, I had just filled the feeder that day, and it had just gone off. The night before is when I put all the what do you call it? The minerals down, and they're all like ganging up, eating those minerals there, coming in. So I have not had any issues whatsoever with that. In fact, I mean, Erin, you've got it on video too, where we've had them in our backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Where the kids are out there playing, and they're in the backyard.
With the little fawns, it's cute.
But if I put the pee out there,
nothing.
Braden, do you have that problem? Do they not react to that?
I mean, like I said, every deer is different in my opinion. There's certain areas that I can put stuff out and nothing hits it, and then there's other areas, like, for instance, last year I made a mock scrape, put some spellbound on the ground, put some pee in the scrape, had a wick hanging off with some pee in the wick, and I had like 7 different bucks hitting it. So I just think it's all on the preference of the deer, you know what I mean? So
yeah, and I think the same thing is true for the type, like, my one buddy, he swears by it, he'll dip a cotton ball, tie a string to it in doe urine, like during rut. He'll tie a shoestring to his foot, and he'll drag it through the woods and make it. I've done that so many times. Never have I had a deer come in on a shoestring, as they say. I've never had it.
Yeah.
I've had them come to the scrapes in early rut, but it's usually the young bucks, right? It's usually the real aggressive. But I've not had them come in like they show them, and I've even had some of my buddies who do this and have good success. And they can't believe that we're not getting
areas
deer.
And every deer in different areas is different. You know what I mean? That if you put something out on your property, it might not work for mine. You know what I mean? So
well, let me ask you. Let's go off of that. Do you think that certain areas that sell in abundance, like let's say in our area, Tink 69 is a really widely used deer urine for the rut and everything like that. Do you think that the deer are so used to that smell, if you bring in, say, Pure Whitetail or one of the other companies, that the deer are kind of like, I don't know what this is, and it either causes them to be gun shy, or it actually causes them to want to go follow it?
I was just going to say, it's either going to deter them or it's going to make them more curious on it and come check it out.
So going back to Jake's statement, do you think it's hurting or helping the situation? Should people be concerned with this? I personally think not. I don't. I hate to say it, but I don't waste money anymore on deer urine. I mean, Pure Whitetail's been good to us. They gave us a pile of it. I got it in the fridge, out in the garage. But I'll be honest, I use their other products more than I use the deer urine.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like with my experience of how they've been kind of skirting it, I've been going away from the urine aspect. I mean, I tried it on a few other places that I hunt, and I only hunted like 1 or 2 days. And I mean, I had things come in like hours apart coming through, but I think that's just the way they walked because it was like their trail. And they'd sniff it and they'd walk out. But my backyard where I mainly hunt, it's not working. And like I said, unless I have thousands of dollars to spend and put it out year round, so they get used to it, then maybe then that will work. But obviously, I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars to train a deer to do something that they might do on their own.
Well, so that's kind of what prompted this whole thing because of the conversation that I had with a guy. I mean, Erin, you know firsthand when we were in the back and we were trying to get in early season when we couldn't get in the stands long enough. I would sneak down with a crossbow. I'd just be wearing sometimes sweatpants. I'd wear my Crocs. I'd carry the crossbow. I was quiet enough that I could get down there within 15 yards of the deer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They never smelled me. I didn't spray down.
Nope.
A lot of times it was when I finished eating dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing. What got me thinking that maybe, is it necessary? And maybe it's different. I mean, we're tree stand hunters, right? We're not Western hunters. Right. When you go out to Montana, that's something else I want to ask you. Before you answer that, we're going to take our last break. But think about this. When we come back, I want you to tell me, if you're going out there, if you're a Western hunter, is it something that you need to be worried about because you're doing a lot of spot and stalking? Have you had success without it? Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this. Well, guys, as you just saw on there, and that was something we wanted to bring up on we're talking about like going west. Is that something you need? You need to worry about, getting the odor off. And I think people get confused. I was telling these guys, people get confused with the difference between odor and scent. Scent, your body has a natural scent. Everybody has their own unique scent. I don't think you can actually get rid of that. But as you were saying, you can get rid of the bacteria and the odor.
Right, from your actual clothes, because, clothing is just clothing. It's not producing something constantly, but your body's producing sweat. It's producing whatever it is from what you ate. If you had garlic, it's going to do it. So you can't stop that from happening, but you can eliminate the odor from your clothes.
And get rid of the bacteria and whatnot. But Braden, out west, are you really concerned about the odor or scent from your clothing as much as you are from a saddle?
From my perspective, when we go out west, we're with a gun, so obviously we have the advantage. We can shoot out there a couple hundred yards. Like I shot my mule deer at 460 yards, so I had the advantage there. And we were out there for 2 weeks, and we didn't shower once for 2 weeks, you know what I mean? We're out there roughing it. So obviously we're going to have a lot of scent on us. Like, probably going to stink, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So I think the biggest thing whenever it comes out to there, and obviously like I wasn't trying to spray perfume on my hunting clothes, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to get it in everything, but at the same time I wasn't worried about it. But if I was spotting and stalking, I was trying to have the perfect plan in place I was trying to gauge the wind to see where I was going, and then once the wind was in my favor, that's the route I was going to take. You know what I mean? Because being out there for 2 weeks, you're going to have a lot of scent and odor on your clothes, on you, just because you haven't showered, you haven't got to clean any of your stuff.
Right.
So, I mean, if your gear's perfectly clean and you're perfectly clean, I'm going to say you're very, very little scent and very little odor. So that deer might not sniff you. But my instance there, like I said, 2 weeks of no shower, I stunk. I felt it necessary to play the wind perfect, or it was going to smell me, you know what I mean? More odor, so it's easier for it to get a whiff if the wind would have swirled on me.
Well, and so that's where I think a product like Scent Crusher has this, and I think this is where it's battery operated. This is where I think it would come in handy in the Western reserves. You have this rapid mobile shower where it looks like a jumpsuit that you put on that could eliminate bacteria and extra smells that you don't need. You wear it for, like, I don't know, 20 minutes or whatever it is, 30 minutes, and it destroys the odor. A lot of guys, they wear it to the stand. I can't call it gimmicky until I try it, right? I mean, all intents and purposes.
So this fits over your clothes?
Yeah, you put this right over top of yourself. It looks like a...
Okay.
Yeah, you get in it with your clothes on. Like, so if you're out west hunting, or Jake, you came from working in the field, you put this on as you're driving to the stand, and it's tight around your wrists and your ankles and around your neck. You close it up, and it basically washes with ozone your clothing.
Huh. I never saw that before. That's interesting.
So
now, I will say something like that for Western hunters, if you're archery hunting, and if that product does work, like you said, I've never used it, so
I've never used it either. So
I'm
I
not going to
can't
say it works, or I'm not going to say it doesn't work, because it probably does work. But at the same time, I don't know for sure. But if it does work, I would say a Western style hunter with a bow, something like that would definitely come in handy, because obviously you got to get within 100 yards with a bow. I mean, I see people shooting them 80, 85 yards, elk, mule deer, whitetail with a bow, which that's a poke. Don't get me wrong, but once again, I think take every advantage you can get whenever it comes to that perspective.
And that's why I think, like, Jake, you might need like some kind of base camp generator for your truck if it's been built in there, or they have a new Supermax Ozone Go, which is bigger and better than the one that we had before.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was looking at that, and you posted pictures of the room unit, right?
Yes.
The plug-in room unit.
Yes.
So how is that, like, would it do the same thing as if you just lit a candle? Like, does it really actually clean the whole room? Can you notice it, or is that another gimmick?
So I will let my wife speak on that, because she uses it a lot.
I use mine a lot too.
The ozone in the room.
Oh yeah. So the room ozone, I love it, especially if someone, particularly our son, love him dearly, but if he uses the bathroom and, does what anyone does when they go to the bathroom.
Well, I mean,
how
about
Steve's done it. I mean,
how about his clothes even? Like,
oh my gosh. Okay, his feet smell like Doritos. He's gotta love them. I'm like, son, we gotta put some ozone in your room or something. It's rough. So it's like, it works for that. I will say it did a good job in his bedroom.
But I mean, we did have to run it
a couple times on high. I mean,
because it was pretty rank.
It was rough.
But I mean, something like this boot dryer. I mean, that'll help get rid of bacteria, because you're drying your boots out. You're not leaving that bacteria in there. But I'll be honest, I'm a big fan of, besides the closets, the mobile closet. Like, if you're out and about, like, to me, having that bag, and I know you guys each have one of these.
Yep.
Eventually, we're going to get Dan Drake on the show here to talk about this. But I guess I wanted to stress that this is preventative measures. This isn't like the be all end all. It's scent control. It's not scent elimination. And I'll tell you, we used the room cleans a lot during COVID.
Yes.
I'm just going to say that. We ran them in the rooms to eliminate any kind of germs. And do you remember when Daniel got sick that one time?
Mm-hmm.
He went to school, and I turned on the ozone in his room to kill any kind of bacteria that was in the room. That was the main goal. It wasn't trying to get rid of the scent, but I figure, ozone, they use it in the hospitals. They use it for stuff for, getting rid of
To sanitize.
And so I ran a half an hour cycle of it, let it sit for an hour, and then I went back in and ran another half hour. And within a few days after that, he was back to normal. Like, he gets the sinus stuff like I do. So I believe it is killing bacteria. I really do. I believe it does.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily just have to be scent crusher.
Yeah.
But
Anything with ozone in it.
Yeah, but I think that ozone is a good alternative for, getting rid of bacteria. I think that's the key, right?
I'll use my wife as a testimony. She hunts. Don't get me wrong, she hunts, but she's not big into all this new gear. You know what I mean? So whenever I got my room clean and my ozone unit for my truck, obviously I'm trying to make a sales pitch to her, like why
justifying
I need it. Yeah, you know what I mean, like why I need it. And she's like, it probably doesn't work. So I let her use it in her vehicle, in her Hummer at the time. A couple days, I think it was. And then I took it back and put it in my truck because obviously I want it in my vehicle. And then it just kept coming up missing every time. I'm like, what is going on? She's like, I'm like, do you have it? She's like, yeah, I do. Like, it works really well. I'm like, okay, well, we can buy you your own and I will take mine back. She's like, okay. So, and the same with the room clean. Like, I would have it in my room and somehow it would end up in her room, blah, blah, blah. So I will say that's like a testimony. She's not gonna, you know what I mean? She's not gonna talk something up because she's a partner with it or whatnot.
Right.
Well,
so if she believes it works, I truly believe it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because she's a neutral in the whole product.
But I think that's something we've done very well here with No Boundaries Outdoors is we won't promote or rep a product that we won't use ourselves or we don't believe in.
Or that we haven't used.
Right. And I want to see, I'm going to try to reach out to Scent Crusher and see our rep over there and see if we can't get one of those shower, I forget what they call it now, the shower with the
mobile shower.
The mobile shower. Yeah. And let's put it to the test. Let's see, is it gimmicky or is it something that is legitimately good? I mean, because like you, Jake, I'll run my clothes in my Scent Crusher closet. I put them on in the garage. I get in the truck. If it's warm and I'm wearing a jacket in the stand, I throw that right in my bag that has all my gear that I'm putting through the ozone yet again, driving to the stand.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also run my ozone go in the truck the whole way there to the stand because it shuts off after 10 minutes or something like that, but then I'll kick it back on. I mean, I get that fanatical with it, but then once I'm outside, I don't spray down. I'll spray the boots down, like I said a couple days before, with that Scent Killer Gold. But other than that, it's rare that I'll spray down. Very rare. So I don't know. I think I'd be interested to see what people say. People want to leave comments below on these videos because what's your thoughts? I mean, obviously we've all killed deer without any kind of this stuff. Is it something that you're willing to invest in for your hunt to make it better, to make the odds more in your favor? Like Braden said, give you that extra advantage. Leave a comment below. Send us an email. Whatever, because I'm truly curious because I think next week we might get into talking about the camo and all the different patterns. So guys, be ready to have some camo handy so we can kind of talk about that because I'll explain my reasoning for the camo that I use. But I'd like to find out because like Braden, you brought up about wearing a flannel.
Right.
How many guys? My buddy Drew, he gone out in his pajamas and killed a deer. So I mean, we could get into some of that stuff. So I'm kind of curious. Again, this is a real show. We want to talk real. We don't want to just peddle products to you guys. It's products that we use and we trust, and it's something that we truly believe in. So, but we also want to be real with it. Is it really what it is? So On that note, we're going to have to wrap this up. Jake's going to have to go pet his goats in the basement.
Yeah, I will.
And he shaved his beard. We were like, we weren't sure who he was when he first got on here. We actually said it was probably because we kept busting him with the Duck Dynasty jokes, right?
A little shorter.
The reality was he was out there working, and his beard got stuck in the neighbor's tractor, right?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go with that.
If you guys want to, check him out on Instagram, instagram.com/OxenChevy. You can see probably his goats. You got to put pictures of the goats up there so people, because I think people are starting to think that you don't have goats, that this is just something we made up to talk about.
Yeah, I know. I think I posted to Facebook. I posted the donkey, I think yesterday or today. So I'll make sure I get the goats up then as well.
Yeah, so Jake, old Mac Jake had a farm, so you guys can check it out.
Farmer Jake.
Farmer Jake.
He's not Jake from State Farm. It's Farmer Jake. So check him out. Also, check out Braden Pennington on Instagram.com/Braden07 and also on TikTok, where he is a TikTok celebrity. He's always posted stuff, and he's got huge following on TikTok, but he puts some good videos together. And Instagram, you've been getting a lot of really cool pictures playing with that camera you talked about a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, I'm obsessed with it.
And we always talk about the
anything
fox.
Cool, I'm like, yeah, I got to get it.
We're gonna get the fox next week for that countdown. I like that picture, so I'm gonna have you send it to me, and I'm gonna put it up on with the countdown. But yeah, he's been doing tremendous with pictures like that, product pictures. Phenomenal, real good job with that. So check him out. And then my wife also, she has. I got it. See, I got it right.
You got my name.
I got it right at the beginning of the show.
I'm not Steven or Stefan.
Nope, I got it. I got you situated. Instagram.com/Keystone Huntress. We need to change that because you don't live in the Keystone State anymore. But for now.
Huntress.
For now.
Yeah, we get. Well, it's so hard to find anything with Huntress in it because all the
it's taken.
The Insta models that think they're hunters. We won't go there. But anyways, so all this, so she has that. You guys can follow her and her pictures. And guys, you can check it out. NBO Steven, NoBoundariesOutdoors.com. We can subscribe. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so. YouTube.com/NoBoundariesOutdoors. Go there, subscribe so you don't miss any of the shows. If you like them in video form, if you want to listen to the audio only, we upload that to all your favorite podcast catchers, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, you name it, you have it. You can listen to it on your way to work. You can listen to it while you're cleaning the house. You can even laugh at this guy anytime you want. That's fine.
Anytime.
Send your hate mail. That's fine. I'm just kidding. We will be back next week with some more stories from the cabin. We hope you enjoy this show, and we'll see you next week. Have a great week.